Thank you, sir. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we have the part 2 seminar webinar coming up in the last week of this month. Lakshmi would have probably posted the link for you to register for the part 2. So if not, I request Lakshmi to just post the link that where people can register. And let's take up the question answer.
Mr. Dominic, sorry to interrupt. Mr. Dominic, sorry to interrupt. A lot of questions are coming for what is this solve and how the safety audits are done.
Okay.
If time permits, we can have a small presentation on how solve is.
We can do it, sir, because solve I can find a lot of interest being shown. Can we talk about what is this solve and how it can help all the electrical audit engineering, sir?
Of course, yes. We have Mr. Vinod with us. So Vinod, you can unmute yourself and you can share your screen and you can just make a demo of how this is carried out.
Yeah, okay, sir.
So Solve is a digital platform which we were developing for the last 1 year or 1.5 years. It is an interactive platform to ensure that the electrical installation is made safer or the electrical installation is working fine. You can share your screen and you can open the browser.
Yeah.
Over to you.
Actually, this is can I start, sir?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. This is a solve platform which we are developing in an artificial intelligence form. So we are having a small introduction about this. We are having 3 modules. One is testing, inspection and certification part, and one is rent meter. So you can rent meter in this platform itself from us, and also you can buy meters in this module. So whatever meters which is required for your electrical safety audit, we will be selling from different organizations.
The idea is here. The idea is sometime for testing a low voltage electrical installation, you need meters which is very expensive. For example, a fault loop impedance meter to test, let us say, a large installation. Sometimes the meter is costing 8 to 9 lakh rupees, or let's say 10 lakh rupees. But to test the complete installation, you need sometime total the cost of the meters probably 30-40 lakh rupees, and the people cannot invest that much amount. So what we are doing is we will have meters, and our partners or the members of Solve can rent the meter. Of course, everybody cannot become a partner. Some trained people can rent the meter so that we will send it to them. They can do the testing and they can upload the data into the website. Over to you, Vinod. You can explain.
Yeah. So in testing part, we are having 3 modules now. So LV system safety audit and lightning protection system survey and electromagnetic compatibility assessment. So with which we can go for LV system first. So here we have generated one report. So I can show you how it works. So this part will be having basic information about the site, what kind of the site name and details of the report, whether we are going to do a root cause analysis or a electrical safety audit or periodic safety audit, like that. It will be having several classification in that. So again, whether it will be having a first verification, or it's a domestic, or it is a commercial parts, like that. We are having basic details in this area, and whoever the inspector who is going to carry the electrical safety audit will be, those details will be, we can enter here. So like
basically the first part is basic information. What kind of installation it is, how big it is, how the electricity is coming, what kind of network and all. So basic information.
So next information will be your supply characteristics. So with which, based on your incoming EB incoming, you can able to give the name based on that, and you have to give specific type of earthing in this station. Suppose if you don't know the earthing means, you can highlight as others, and you can give the details of connections which is given to the transformer, and
Yeah,
like whatever
basically,
the
we for the initial development, we took the format of IEC 60364, but it is not just a format. The data are collected with this format and it is processed, and finally, the idea is to tell the client which are the areas risky for you. You know?
yeah. So with which we can able to give test results also in this software, and which can able to this is artificial intelligence software we are having that. So if you enter the test details like nominal voltage and fault loop impedance, it will automatically give you the current maximum prospective fault current, which means the maximum fault current in which your circuit can drive. So after that, it can also give your disconnection time when fault flows. So based on that, if you have alternative supply also, you can give the details
So
of the same in this.
the information from the mains incoming, that means from the transformer, the information from the alternate supply, let's say, for example, you have 3 DGs and 3 transformers, all the information can be put into the software. After the alternate supply, what exactly it is? Can you go down a little bit?
Yeah.
Then here the parameters like the size of the conductor, length of the conductor, these are actually, we have to measure it and we have to put the actual parameters. That means it is not filling a form. We have to test, and with the sequence, we have to keep on filling the form. The next one, please. So this is, we are making it interactive in the sense, imagine in a client's premise, there is an electrical engineer who is doing the test, and probably the senior officer wanted to know whether this is correct or not. He can put the comments into the software so that both of them can look into the comments, they can answer, or they can discuss in between, and if they need, they can also make retesting and so on.
This part.
Yeah.
This is the comments part.
So once when a comment is put, then that particular part develops into comment, the parameter wise comments are included. Can you go to the next part, inspection part? So at the top, what you are seeing is basic information. Basic information, can you go to the top? Basic information consists of a lot of information. Then supply characteristics. This particular part, which as I told, it is copied from the IEC 60364, but we have put a lot of effort and a lot of information into it. The inspection, basically, it checks the physical inspection of the entire electrical installation, such as the shock protection, such as fire protection, and so on. And the fourth part is the testing part. Fourth is the testing part. So testing, you see here, a lot of parameters need to be tested, detailed testing, and once when you do the testing with a meter, you are supposed to fill up the form. Can you go to the next module? Also, the final summary. Finally, the summary is you will get the result, and you will be able to find out how many circuits are in good condition, how many circuits are safe, how many circuits are having problem, and so on. Now, what you should understand is, as I explained in today's presentation about the lift, if you look at the IS 732 or IEC 60364, the standard format, information about lift is not included. Whereas in our software, what we are doing is the information about the safety requirement of all the connected loads. Let's say, for example, if you put a lift, then the standard is, then the it says, okay, this lift is based on ISO 8000 part 2. Then you check these parameters like its protective bonding, its disconnection time, its insulation resistance, and so on. So basically, not only the electrical installation, the safety parameters of the entire connected load is also included as modules, so that the software gives you a very good opportunity to find out whether your electrical installation is in a good shape or not. Now, we are making it in such a way that we will be able to carry out the electrical safety investigation, or like whenever there is a fire, and if we wanted to investigate the reason for fire, this module will be able to find out the probable problems. So thanks, Vinod, for sharing this. We can go back to the question answer, Mr. Dominic.
Okay.
You can unshare. Yeah.
So you're on mute.
Sorry. Taradal is asking, in tender specification, can we put protection audit during installation and commissioning?
Of course, yes. You can put, technically speaking, it is a mandatory requirement, design, erection and inspection, or design, erection and verification. So at the moment, design is there, erection is there, but testing is not included. So please include verification as well.
Satish is asking, what is the category to be used for panels which are installed on the roof of building or external areas to protect over voltage due to lightning?
Yeah, it can be of category 4.
Category 4.
Category 4 means 6 kV. Actually, this is more related, the category 4 is more related to the mains incoming. But if you have a power supply, if your equipment is fed from a power supply which is within the building, then category 3 is also accepted.
Okay, Mahendra is asking, I think you should watch the previous webinar, and this followed. We'll be sharing the record to you. You're asking right method to protect building from lightning. So that is the purpose of this webinar. So you can review the presentation of Mr. Gupta later. So we have anonymous. Normally we don't take, but however, the important is the question. On an average, how frequent it is required to replace SPD for domestic and office purposes?
Actually, if you are using or if you are selecting and erecting an SPD based on the correct methods, generally 15 to 20 years. It is supposed to give 15 to 20 years. Not only the SPD, the entire electrical installation is supposed to give an average, a minimum life of about 25 years, including SPD. So let me say 15 years. It again depends on what kind of equipment you are connecting. If you have connected an SPD very closer to a capacitor switching panel, and if the capacitor switching panel is switching quite frequently, then of course the life will be lesser.
So same person asking, do we recommend one SPD for each flat?
That is preferably the best way.
Mm-hmm. Okay. If the internal fuse of SPD is blown off, they just stop protecting over voltage. How do we know, as they are just in parallel?
If the internal fuse, okay,
if the internal fuse of SPD is blown off. Yeah.
Okay, SPD has got an indication, green and red indication. So green becomes red. So you can look at the indication and change the plug of the SPD. If there is, alternatively, you can also have an NONC contact which can be connected to a light or a hooter or whatever. You can have an audio or a visual indication outside your panel board.
I request the participant to please mention your name, because anonymous question, if you take, we don't know from where the question is coming, how do we reply? So I request people to mention their name. Suresh Kumar D is asking, class or type and category SPDs are same. Some reference says type 1 used for mains, but as per category it's 3 more than 6,000 watt.
No, category is not related to SPD. Category is related to the category which I explained. Sometimes, different standards explain the same subject into different methods. Sometimes, for example, UL standard explains in a different way, IEEE in a different way. If you are talking in that fashion, I am also confused with your question. If you are talking about the category which I explained from the IEC standard, category is talking about the voltage impulse withstanding capacity. Means how much voltage your equipment. Imagine you have a TV or you have a refrigerator. How much how much voltage your refrigerator can withstand? Say, for example, category 3 means with an operating voltage 400 volt, it must withstand 4 kV. Now, once when you connect the motor to your line, we really don't know how much voltage is coming from the line. It may be 5 kV, 10 kV, 20 kV. Now, the installer or the owner of the building must ensure that when you buy the motor, you know that your motor can withstand only 4 kV. But once when you install the motor at your house, you must see that the transient overvoltage going into the motor is limited to less than 4 kV. That is your responsibility. That is how it works.
Sir, Sunal Seth is asking, do we need to take any redundancy for SPD in main panel? Are there any chances of SPD failures?
Chances of SPD failure, of course, most of the time SPDs are failing due to temporary overvoltages, especially the MOV based SPDs, and the spar gap based SPDs, of course, due to a wrong selection of a backup fuse, due to a wrong follow current or short circuit current. Of course, SPDs may fail. It can also fail due to deterioration. Now for redundancy, we have on the second part, we will discuss this particular subject. There are subjects called the priority to continuity of protection, priority to continuity of supply. If you look at that particular part, you will be able to understand how it is handled.
So does SPD have any number of operation, any limitation for operation?
Generally, for example, a type 2 SPD, I nominal 20 times. Let us say a 10 kiloampere type 2 SPD of I nominal current 10 kiloampere. It means the SPD it must withstand at least 20 strikes of 10 kiloampere. But technically or generally, a surge of 10 kiloampere is actually a very high surge. In normal, switching surges are of the order, very low level. In that case, it can handle multiple strikes. So I have shown in the case of a strike saw, it is tested for 2000 strikes of 10 kiloampere. 2000 strikes. 2000 strikes of 10 kiloampere probably will take 20-30 years in a normal environment.
Santosh Dasari is asking, type 1+2 SPD category also exists?
Actually, it does not exist. Only type 1, type 2, type 3 exist, but manufacturers are free to use it because if imagine I have one SPD and I have tested it for both the parameters. I have passed the type 1 parameter and the type 2 parameter. So I have the freedom to call it as type 1 or type 2. Generally, people call as type 1 plus type 2 because it is satisfying both the technical requirements.
The very interesting question from Imanshu. Because this is something very interesting and very regular. We are having installation of sensitive CCTV installation system, including PoE, power over internet switches. During rainy season, maximum devices got damaged. As per OEM, these equipment got damaged due to voltage surge. Need your suggestion to protect these equipments.
Yes, actually, one of the fastest moving SPD in our for us is CCTV protection, because CCTV, the recorder is inside the building and the cameras are always outside the building, and sometimes are very expensive. Due to lightning, as we always say, there is a ground potential rise, and or due to some kind of EMI effect, the sensitive electronics can fail. In a CCTV camera with PoE, of course, the SPDs are available. It is Cat6E SPD, which will protect for both the signal line and the internal, the power lines are protected. Actually, nowadays, all the CCTV cameras are protected with an SPD. Closer to the camera number 1, closer to the recorder number 2. So sometimes both the places, both the locations, these Cat6 SPDs are used.
So you have under the Cape Electric banner, you have SPDs.
Yes. That is one of our biggest business. We have an association with RayCap. RayCap is a German company, one of the largest manufacturer of surge protective device. We are getting the SPDs from them, and we install it. We design the SPD system and we install it. We are one of the leader. As I said, we started our SPD business in 1997, so almost 25 years now, and we have hundreds or thousands of SPD installations. But as I said, one of the risk which we always face is in an existing installation, especially for power line, people buy SPD, but there is no space to install the SPD, and then we are supposed to or forced to use a long wire to connect SPD. As a result, it may not work. We will discuss it in the second part.
Okay, sir. How to check
with respect to SPD, of course, we have hundreds of SPDs for power line, hundreds of SPDs for data line, signal line, instrumentation line, coaxial line, and so on.
So Cape Electric has all the solutions for SPDs, whatever the equipment is, low voltage, high voltage. Cape Electric has SPDs with them. Okay, how to check 4-pole SPDs working in normal condition?
To check the healthiness of SPD, you need to have an SPD tester. In between, I was showing on the picture, there is a handheld SPD tester. We call it as universal SPD tester. Any brand, any SPDs, you can check the 1 milliampere voltage of an MOV SPD or the spar gap based SPD. The spark core voltage can be tested. There is a handheld device.
So Mulugu Chari is asking whether do you have a branch in Hyderabad to buy the meters?
We have a branch in Hyderabad, but these activities, especially solve-related activities, we are at the moment handling from Chennai. So especially these meters, which we are trying to, actually our business is not to sell the meters. Our idea is to sell our idea is to ensure that these are used properly by proper training and proper coordination. So sometimes people ask, I wanted to buy a meter. So we will have some link which will be directing to the companies, those who are selling the meter.
So Santosh Dasri is asking criteria for SPD backups OCPD. Rating is only for the model on type or any other criteria, sir?
Of course, there are other criteria as well. We will discuss it in the next
in part 2.
Part 2.
Okay, Kiran Pandey is asking how to protect the router or dish TV cable connected appliances from the lightning.
Yes, for router and dish TV, there are you need to have SPDs. The SPD which I explained today is mostly about power line SPD, but data line, signal line, coaxial line SPDs are also there. You need to install the coaxial line SPD for your application, or data line protection for your application.
So Anonymous asking at least 8 to 10 questions, but I'm not taking your question. You can write to Mr. Gopakumar directly. We have mentioned the email because I would like to have name for all the question. So I'm moving on. Ashish Shakya, in some small device, I see only MOV and not fusing element in series. So will this create permanent short in case of failure of MOV?
Of course, yes. So you cannot call it as an SPD. You have to call it, if there is only one MOV inside, then you should call as MOV. Probably MOV in a box. It's not an SPD. SPD means you need to have a protective mechanism as well inside in case of an MOV.
Lingaraja Patra is asking, sir, SPD also recommended for control supply or in protection panel?
Of course, yes. SPD is required in wherever the lines are coming from outside and entering into your building. Equipotential bonding has to be carried out for all the metallic services which is coming inside. Let's say, for example, you have a CCTV camera placed outside. Its a recorder is inside the building. You need to have SPD. You need to have, for example, in control and instrumentation system. You have sensors at the field and you have the controller inside the building. So there also you need to have SPD. It is required for all different kind of lines.
Davies asking how to avail software platform for audit. So Davies from look like Alappad, either from Tamil Nadu or Kerala. Yeah.
Yes, Mr. Davis, you can, we have from our website, solvelv.com, there is a link. So you can log into that link, you can register, and once when you are approved, you can use it. But this approval process, we are at the moment restricting because we are making only for the trained people, because the basics has to be stronger to use it. That's how it is. We can discuss about it probably in a separate session.
So Satishwaran is asking, thank you for the awareness program. During the lightning strike, our complete building metal conducting parts will be in equipotential, provided we have done proper equipotential. In this case, if any person is touching the metal part, there will be some current flowing through his body on the ground. Whether people will be protected in this case.
For example, if all your metallic parts are interconnected together, then the chance of potential difference is nil or zero. If the chance of potential difference is nil, there is no current flow through the body of the person. So even if the person is touching two different metallic parts, it's safe, nothing happens.
Okay. Satish S is asking how to size the protective device rating for SPDs which are not directly connected to the bus bar. Are these protective devices can be fuses or only MCBs or MCCBs?
This is for the part 2 of our program.
Okay, you can,
so
Satish, come join us for the part 2. You will see the solution for this. And Arshramya, can you please advise the technical specification for purchasing SPDs for domestic purpose?
We will cover it in the part 2 because the current parameters are also coming into the picture. We will cover it. I'm sorry that we have 1 hour or 1.5 hour or maximum all our programs are going to 2 hours. Within this short time, explaining the entire parameters will be very difficult.
I think most of the questions we have answered, and I request everyone to follow the link that has been in the chat, and also we'll be inviting you individually on your mail to log in, and also please invite all the other professionals, engineers, electrical engineers, because somewhere, I always feel only best practices can improve our nation. Advancement. We are still, as Mr. Gopu was saying, we are not even 5% when compared to other European or Western country in terms of best practice installation, best installation practices. So unless we all engineers,
we can take up. There are 2-3 more interesting questions.
Yes,
one
sir.
is Mr. Davis again. Is it mandatory to use SPDs as per IS 732? Can I answer?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is mandatory. If your building has got the external lightning protection system, then you need to have a type 1 SPD at the mains incoming. If you don't have an external lightning protection system and an overhead transmission distribution line into your building, then you don't need a type 1 SPD, you need to have a type 2 SPD. These parts will be discussed in depth during the second part of our program. Also, Mr. Narasimha Rao is asking about LED lights. Of course, not only LED lights, all electrical and electronic appliance, the installer or the owner of the building shall ensure that the voltage goes into that equipment is lesser than its withstanding capacity, and this is achieved only by installing SPD. So SPDs are mandatory in the equipment if you want, or in your installation if you wanted to protect your equipment.
I think continuation to Satishwaran asking with reference to my previous question, even if you don't touch the metal part, is there any chance of current flowing through the floor?
If you don't touch, yes, if you don't touch, there is no chance.
Through the floor, he's asking, will the current flow through the floor?
Through the floor and through the interconnected metallic parts, there will be current flow. But in comparison to our body resistance, the metallic parts have very small, very small resistance. As a result, the current flow through the metallic parts, interconnected metallic parts, not through the body. So I would say, I would explain that the equipotential bonding system shall be made in such a way that the current is not flowing through the person's body. Instead, rather than through the body, it should flow through the interconnected metallic parts. If it is not properly bonded, of course, there is a chance that the current may flow through the body and the people may get killed.
Okay, I want to thank all the participants patiently listening, and I know we are timed it wrongly because there are continuous holidays. We have Varma, Lakshmi, Moharam here. So next program will be on Friday at 4 o'clock. So I'm sure that timing is convenient to you all. We would request you to join, and also I want to thank Lakshmi on the background, who's handling the entire webinar. I want to thank Lakshmi for taking time on holidays, Saturday being one on the holidays. She still continue to support us. And thank you, Vinod, in explaining this all, which is catching up. People are quite interested and they would like to know more and more about it. I'm sure very soon we'll have robust, this software which are still under development in some part. So I want to thank Mr. Gopakumar, non-stop knowledge sharing, continuous. There is so many subjects that we can cover. I think entire year we can keep on talking. But however, I request all my participants, if you are a buyer of SPDs or, earthing kit and all that, please give reference or preference to Cape Electric, because when they give knowledge, I think to sustain, we need business. So they have been doing wonderful job in the country, and I urge everyone to support Cape Electric. Thank you, sir. All of you have a great weekend and safe stay, and have a good time with your family. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks to all participants. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir. Bye-bye.